What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another daily drop presented by Caldera Lab, an amazing new sponsor that we're really excited to be partnering with. They specialize in high-performance men's skincare products, and we're going to go even more in depth on Caldera Lab a little bit later in this podcast, so stay tuned for that because, again, it's an awesome brand and one we're really excited to be partnering with. I'm Jacob Turner. He's Andrew Jones, and we're here for a Carolina basketball-related drop. And AJ, this is one I really genuinely think fans are going to like. I think they're really going to enjoy this one. I think they're really going to enjoy some of the behind the scenes stuff that you're going to be able to talk about in this podcast because of what you saw at Hubert Davis's summer press conference just a few weeks ago. So AJ, I'm calling this kind of a sneak peek, almost like a first impression of the new look Carolina roster and Carolina basketball team, because there's so many new faces, and even some of the guys that have been around the program for a while, your Armando Bacot's, your RJ Davises, we haven't seen them in person in a few months. It's been a while going back to basketball season because we just don't get that access with them during the summer. So we talked about this in a previous drop a little bit. I think it was the drop we did, or maybe it was a podcast we did about the press conference where we kind of went in depth on it and some of the chemistry and some of the things they're talking about in that respect. But you were in the press conference, the bowels of the Smith Center, and I believe you got to walk out in the hallway a little bit, either after, during, or in between, and you got to see some players. You got to talk to some players a little bit. You got to see some of these new guys for the first time. Fascinating stuff, and one, again, I think Carolina fans are really going to enjoy. So give us a little bit of insight on not only what you saw from being in the bowels of the Smith Center, but some of your first impressions of these new guys like the Jalen Withers of the world, because I think this is the kind of stuff that fans want to know about and want to hear about.
Well, let me begin by saying not everything you see in the bowels of the arena or away from public view is meant for public consumption.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we don't talk about on podcasts.
As you know, because you've been around so much of it for quite a while now, there are, I would say, 85% of the stuff I see or experience, I never tell anybody. It doesn't matter. It's not people's business. Some things are private. That's a private space, so you let it stay that way. But there are some things I think we're at liberty to discuss. I'm not, revealing any secrets here. I'm not what the guy stealing the playbook, the game book, playbook on the Brady Bunch or whatever that episode was when he fake dating Marcia so he could steal Greg's playbook or whatever it is. Not that at all. So it's some good stuff and it's some interesting stuff. And as I begin to steer the nose toward the 2023-24 season, which is what the summer presser does, this was a really good opportunity for me just to kind of see some stuff because I love seeing the new guys and just kind of get a feel as well. I'm a big vibe guy. So I walked out in the hallway. As you know, the men's room's like right here. There's a restroom around the corner down here over by the practice gym. After Hubert's press conference, I had to go down to the restroom. I walk out and I was like, oh, wow, there's Seth Trimble. And the first thing that jumped out at me was a year ago, and you go look at some of the photos that we had of Seth, he looked like a kid a lot of the time. He looked young. He looked like a freshman, and he was a little bit younger when he arrived than a lot of guys. And so he looked it. But the thing that jumped out at me, in addition to his hair being a little bit different, he looked older. He looked a little like Jonas Saracen has gotten a hold of Seth Trimble and said, okay, here's what you're going to do. And Seth's done every bit of it. And he looks a little bit thicker. He looks a little bit more prepared for the rigors and dealing with screens and that kind of thing. So I thought that was interesting and it jumped out at me immediately. So then I'm walking, you got the weight room across from the press room. Not the weight room, excuse me, the training room.
Training room, yeah.
Where the players get taped and all that kind of stuff and they do a lot of the stretching. So the last door is before the curve. You go this way, you go out to the tunnel where the visiting team goes out to the court. This way is the practice court and the steps. And Armando comes walking out and he says, hey, what's up? And he's with Jalen Withers. So as interested as I am in talking with Armando and looking at Armando, I was looking over at Jalen Withers because the only times I'd ever seen him in person was he was in a Louisville uniform. So the thing that struck me right away was that he's almost as tall as Armando. And he's pretty solid guy. He's a hair guy. So he and Armando going to have the hair game going on, probably a hair competition, I imagine.
Great hair, for sure.
Which Armando will be determined to win, and he'll change it enough. But I was really struck by how long Jalen Withers is. And I think that's a positive for North Carolina, because there might be times where we have to defend the 5 some. So when we've talked about that before, even with Okonkwo around, who, well, I guess by now maybe he has. Anyway, at the time of the press conference, he hadn't filled out his paperwork yet.
Yeah.
So Hubert couldn't talk about him. So, and I was talking with Armando and told him, I said, well, we're here for Hubert's presser. And he's kind of joking, well, did he say anything good about me? And I didn't say anything good about you, kind of stuff. And I told him, I said he was talking a lot about chemistry. Well, I was going to the restroom. So Armando was going to the restroom first before going to the practice gym. So you got like, what, 3 or 4?
I think it's 3 stalls, 4. I'm trying to remember. I've been that back.
Urinal stall. He's on the left.
Times.
I'm on the right. We're kind of in unison and chatting a little bit. And that was fun. And then when he walked out, he said, we old, AJ, we old.
I love that quote.
It's true, because they're a mature team. You want to get old in college basketball and try to stay old. That's how you contend for national championships. That's one way of doing it. So I was really struck by how loose Armando was. And when I said about the chemistry, he's like, boom, immediate. Armando's another no BS guy. We did a podcast about football where I talk about what I'm looking forward to. And I said, Cedric Gray is a no BS guy. Armando's totally a no BS guy.
Oh, yeah.
If they have crappy chemistry, he won't say he may not say, hey, we have crappy chemistry, but he won't say we have great chemistry. He won't do that. Unless he's trolling a reporter, he won't do that. And he's not going to troll me in that situation. So I was struck by that. So when I come out of the restroom and Hooker left, here comes Zayden High. And I've never seen Zayden High in person before. So this was the first time. And I was, again, struck at how long he is. Big dude. Fairly solid, but he's tall. I mean, he looks every bit of 6'11". If he's 6'10", he's 6'10" and plus, right? And so I was caught by that. I saw Jalen Washington. Jalen was in a tank top and shorts, and he looked more filled out. I mean, again, Jonas has gotten him in there. I'm sure that when Seth walks out, Jalen goes in. And he starts doing his stuff. And one of the things that Hubert said about Jalen is that he's been living in the weight room all off season. Well, I saw that. It was apparent. Now, it's not like he's the Incredible Hulk or anything like that. But a guy like him, if he adds 10 to 12 pounds of muscle from year 1 to year 2, that's significant. And that will make him a better player. Ultimately, he needs to be able to play through contact. Strength and determination, the thing in hands, allow you to play through contact. He's got his hands, he's got determination, so he needs to add the strength and maybe a little bit more grit. So, and I think the more strength you add, the more confidence you are in exuding grit on the court as well. Exactly. in those situations. So I saw that from him. So that was pretty cool. That was I didn't see everybody. I did see Paxton Wojcik. He looked like what I thought Paxton Wojcik would look like. I didn't see RJ. RJ's a good guy. I was hoping I would see him, but I didn't. I'm trying to think of who else I saw. Bo May stretching. I had to, Bo had to move actually because when Brett, you didn't ask me this part, I guess, but when Brett Friedlander and I walked in, he parked near me. He pulled in a park near me and we walked in together. And now we enter at the front over by the Woody Durham Center. And we go like where the natatorium is. We go down the steps and you could go to the pool going through this door. You go to the press conference going right. And when we were walking in the door, Tyler Hansbrough's walking out and he's like, hey guys. And I was thinking, first thing I said to Brett Friedlander was, there's always people out front. I know you've been there during press conferences and stuff, but there's always a couple people out taking pictures of the Dean Dome, doing the selfies with the Dean Dome in the background. And I said to Brett, I said, imagine just think of the treat those people are in for. Because Tyler was walking out and he turned like he was going to walk by him. So you randomly go up to the Dean Dome to take pictures on a summer afternoon, and here comes Tyler Hansbrough, which is pretty cool. So I thought that was pretty neat. So we were walking down there. Bo was stretching. He had to get out of the way he had to make room for Friedlander. It was Friedlander royalty that
had to clear the way. Had to clear the way for Brett Friedlander.
Yeah. So I don't like to. I'm not a big tell the world what's going on in the bowels of the arena. I think it's pretty private space, but this stuff I think is okay to put out there. And it was exciting for me because I'm all about intel. I'm an intel guy. You know that. Every bit of every nook and cranny I can get, I want. So this gave me a nice little feel my first taste of this team, if you will, after having a pretty good press conference with Hubert. So I thought people would be interested in knowing about some of that stuff.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And again, I think fans will love this kind of stuff. We'll talk about it a little bit more in a second too. But before we do that, AJ, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Caldera Lab. And AJ, you had some first impressions with, the Jalen Withers, the Zayden High. You had these first impressions. You got to see Paxton Wojcik a little bit with these guys. And AJ, first impressions are crucial. First impressions matter. We all know that. And your face is most likely the first thing that someone notices about you, which is, again, I've mentioned this before. It's unfortunate for us because we got radio faces. We don't have TV faces. We are not the people you want to see on your big screen TV. I'll tell you that for sure. But we can improve that, AJ. And we're going to work on improving this now because of our awesome sponsorship with calderalab.com. Carly, my wife, is constantly on me about taking better care of my skin. You got to wash your face at night. You got to put these 2 or 3 different creams on. And it's overwhelming. You don't really know what you're supposed to do. You don't really know how much you're supposed to do it. But Caldera Lab makes it so easy because they have different products for each part of your skincare routine. So, guys, it's clinically proven products that help reduce wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging. Caldera Lab is the leader in men's skincare and is here to save the day and your confidence so you can succeed and look even better when you do have those first impressions that we all run into almost on a daily basis. So, guys, get 20% off with the promo code THI. Again, that's 20% off, promo code THI. Nice and easy for you guys at calderalab.com. You can jump into skin and first impression royalty with Caldera Lab. AJ, I don't know if you can tell, I'm excited about this sponsorship, man. I'm excited about this one because I think this is one that all the men listening, I know we have a very predominant men audience that listen to this. We can all do a better job of improving our skincare routine. And Caldera Lab, like I said, makes it easy because they have so many different products that make it step-by-step guides on how to do it. And it doesn't take that long, AJ. It's maybe a minute in the morning and maybe a minute at night. That's all you got to do. It makes it very, very simple and very, very easy. And you might not see immediate results, but if you keep consistent with it, you will see results over time. And that's just how these skincare products work. So check them out. High performance men's skincare products. THI is the promo code 20% off. Excited about it.
I say run a test. I might even do this.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. Okay. Run a test. Mm-hmm. So get the product. Don't tell your wife you have it. Or your girlfriend, whoever.
Yeah, I like that.
If you don't have one, then you're not in, you purely can't do this test. Don't tell. Mm-hmm. But do it. Make sure they don't walk in on you, that kind of thing. And with my wife's and my crazy schedules, her being a nurse working at night, we really receive
each other anyway,
which is
easy,
good. Yeah. I can hide it from her pretty well. So I'll do it for a couple of weeks and see if she notices. Mm-hmm.
I'm on that too.
Like, hey, sure, I'll watch the Orioles with you tonight. Instead of slight protesting, that'll mean that the face is better.
Exactly.
She won't know that I'm hooking her in a little bit more. She won't even know it. And this is like considered a magic potion, right?
Oh, man.
So if I get to the point where she's like, sure, hey, hon, you want to watch the Orioles tonight? They got a big game against the Yankees. I'm like, yeah, this Caldera stuff is working. They're reeling in the baseball stuff with my wife.
I like that.
I'm going to run a test.
I'm doing the same thing.
I'm
doing the same test because I think my wife will notice, but I think it'll take her some time. But I know she will notice because these products work, and I know if you use them.
She's got to hide it. She never goes into my space in the bath but she doesn't want to touch it.
She didn't want to touch that, man.
She'll never know. She'll never know. So I'll see if it works. I will report it here if it works or not. I'm sure it will.
And like you said, even if you don't have a significant other, that's totally fine. You might be going on a date soon. You might be looking around trying to find. Imagine showing up with not only your skin glowing, but imagine having a conversation on your first date about how you take care of your skin. She's going to be wild. And I'm going to keep saying it, AJ. I guarantee you that second date gets locked in, as long as everything else goes well. But that skincare stuff will really up your game in every way.
And I'm really going to do it, by the way. I'm doing it
too. And we need the help. I said it. We got faces for radio. We need all the help we can get, man. So the Caldera Lab is going to really benefit us, which is why I'm very excited about it. So 20% off. THI is the promo code. Links below. Go check them out. Excited to be sponsoring, or for them to be sponsoring us and partner with them. This is a really exciting time for us. So check them out, and long may the sponsorship continue. AJ, last thing. I know you've kind of talked about all your observations, but I just want to hit on one thing real quick because you mentioned the Tyler Hansboroughs. I don't know if you saw Luke May, but I did hear that. I did see a couple of tweets from some reporters that Luke May was in the building as well. And I think that speaks to the culture at Carolina, but I also think it speaks to just how invaluable the offseason is for these guys, especially the new players getting in there, because they're playing these summer pickup games with these guys. They're walking around the Smith Center working out while Tyler Hansbrough is walking through. Maybe he's doing some workouts and playing some pickup games with them as well. Luke Mays of the world, all these other former pros that return. To me, that's so important to not only the culture of Carolina basketball, but to me, that's so important for the new guys coming in, the attraction of coming to Carolina. You can get so much experience, so much really, really elite experience during the offseason, not only playing against these guys, but talking to them. How do I improve my game? Getting little pointers and stuff like that. So it is really cool to not only see these guys for the first time, but to also see these former players returning. Because again, I think it's just such a positive for new guys coming into the program, and Carolina has a lot of those this offseason.
Yeah, I saw Bo. I didn't see Luke, but yeah, Luke's been around there. When you're talking, I was trying to remember the last time I saw Luke in there. I think I was in the building. I was in the building after the season ended at some point, and I saw Luke down there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw him. I just don't remember exactly when it was. But yeah, I agree with you because culture is enormous. And Hubert's trying to implement a little bit of a different culture, I guess, than what Roy had. But the full scope of the Carolina basketball culture always remains. Mm-hmm. And it would take decades of daily detonation to destroy. We talked about a little bit about that with the Kansas Carolina podcast. And I just think that culture is so strong and it's so individually maintained. Like everyone does their part to maintain that culture. And so I see some of those guys down there. And I think, Tyler walking out, Tyler had to have been banging Jalen Washington, right? That's what people want.
Oh, yeah, man.
Tyler's banging Jalen Withers, right? He's banging Armando some more. Armando told a great story last year about when he first got there that they was playing pickup and Tyler sent him to the hospital.
Which is the most psycho thing.
Sent him to the hospital.
The most Tyler Hansbrough.
Which, by the way, sidebar, when I covered the NBA for a while when I was at Fox Sports, I covered the Bobcats, who are now the Hornets again. I covered the team that had the worst winning percentage of all time. And there were some guys, I covered a game that the Pacers played, and I think it was Brendan Haywood was with the Bobcats. Brendan remembered me when I covered him at Carolina. So he and Gerald Henderson were my go-to guys because I covered Gerald at Duke. I know he's a name that fans don't want to hear, especially in the same conversation as Tyler Hansbrough, but actually they were okay. I think Gerald was okay with Tyler. I'm not sure Tyler's still okay with Gerald, but I asked Brendan about Tyler. Mm-hmm. And he's a bull in a china shop, even in the NBA. So he's that way now. So when he's playing with those guys, he sends Armando to the hospital as a freshman with blood all over his nose and stuff like that. So again, Jalen Washington needs to play through contact, right? He needs to be more rugged in there. If he's added 10 or 12 pounds of muscle, put it to use against Tyler. Test it against him. The test I'm going to do about my face with Caldera Lab. Well, Jalen testing the new body, the new strength against Tyler Hansbrough. If he passes that test, then he's gonna do quite fine in college basketball.
Exactly, man. And that's a great place to wrap this one up. I love these kind of discussions. I love being in the bowels of the Smith Center and being able to see these things. I was unfortunate I wasn't able to make it that day, but it's what makes the job really fun. And again, a lot of this stuff never sees the light of day on podcasts for us, 80-90% of it. But topics like this, I think, are fine to talk about and worth talking about. And I think Carolina fans will get a lot out of it as well. So again, guys, real quickly, make sure you check them out. Promo code THI, calderalab.com, 20% off on your order. Links below. Big thank you to them for partnering with us. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. Another daily drop. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hit that notification bell too, guys, because fall camp started. The swing of things is going. We're going to continue to put these drops out. Podcasts can be coming out even more, and so many more interviews will be coming out as well from football season and eventually basketball season, because it's not that far away either. So hit that notification bell too, so you know every single time we upload. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks.